Hey, hello, hello, hello. Listen, thank you so much. We want to give people some time. Welcome to another edition of Mental Health Matters with Marty. This is the Thursday edition, and I'm so excited about the month of May and what we have for you. So let's give some people some time to jump in. Hope everyone is having a great day and everyone is doing well. So come on in the room, y'all. Come on in the room. Let me know you're here. But again, welcome to another edition of Mental Health Matters with Marty. This is our Thursday edition, and I'm so excited with all the guests that we're going to be bringing to you this month, because May is a very important month. May is mental health awareness month, and we want to share a lot of what we are doing in this mental health field. And we don't want you, one of my favorite thing is saying, we don't want you to suffer in silence, but we want you to speak up, speak out, and live with that, because too often we have been suffering in silence, and we have to break the negative stigma about what mental health services is and who requires mental health services. It is not just a quote unquote disease for rich white folk or anything like that. But mental health does not discriminate against class, creed, color, or anything else. So again, welcome again, y'all, to another edition of Mental Health Matters with Marty. This is the month of May, and I'm so excited to be bringing one of my boys in here with me tonight that's going to help join this conversation. And we want to hear from you in this conversation about mental health and what we're going to be doing. So listen, y'all, like and share this already. Like and share. Get the word out. Tell some people to come and join us tonight, y'all, as we do this. Again, without any further ado, I want to bring up here with us, y'all, a very good friend of mine, Mr. Jason. He's a writer, author, motivational speaker, unit, mental health provider, all of the above. I'm trying to grow up and be like him, Mr. Jason T. Mahoney. So I don't have the class, but what's going on, sir?
Nothing much, man. Holding it down here in North Carolina, staying locked down and quarantined and staying safe, but just living life. We're living life.
Out in North Carolina, huh?
Yes, living life.
Living life, man. I appreciate you joining us tonight. First, tell us who you are, what you do, and what all your initials behind your name stand for. MS, CFTC. Yes, got them all.
Jason T. Mahoney. I'm here in Raleigh, North Carolina. I am a motivational speaker, motivational coach, national certified trainer, and I'm also a best-selling author with one of the books that was a bestseller was Letters to Our Brothers, which was released this past December. Just enjoy public speaking, motivating people to motivating people, to encourage people, just a person that believes in supporting other individuals and helping them get to their dreams and their goals. Throw away every weight and just move towards your destiny. And what do these acronyms stand for? You know, when I was typing, I was trying to figure that out as well.
Right.
We both have like the alphabet soup behind our name. So the MS is Masters of Science. I have a Master of Science degree in counseling with a focus on families. And then also I'm a certified family-centered trauma coach. So I do a lot of focus on that traumatic stuff that people may go through, and just provide different tools and techniques to help individuals move to their next. And it's all about that motivation, you know, how do we get motivated to move to the next?
That's right. I love that. Motivating to move to the next level. Why did you get interested in mental health? What's your story behind that? Why mental health? Because, you know, as a mental health professional, we as Black men make up 1%.
Right.
So why this field? Why mental health? What's your story?
So interesting enough, I just love people. I genuinely love people. And I can remember just growing up, my mom and dad were always engaging people from all different walks of life, all different backgrounds. And I really wanted to know who these people, who they were. And so going into the mental health allowed me to understand why some people did the things that they do. And so it was interesting. My first job out of college, I was really blessed that I graduated from Francis Marion, and I walked across the stage in May. That month, I had a job working at PD Mental Health Center. And so I was lucky to be someone that graduated and went directly into my field. And my first job out of college in mental health, I worked third shift in a crisis unit. Can you imagine? Fresh out
They
of
threw you
college,
to the wolves, man.
fresh out of college, working
Yeah.
third shift. They could at least put me on first shift, but working third shift, and that really allowed me to see so many things. And I was honored to work with PD Mental Health Center, because a lot of those individuals that were my colleagues, they had so much wisdom. And so I just sat at their feet and kind of soaked it all in, and just kind of learn the field, and learn pretty much everything to matriculate in the mental health field. So I've done, domestic violence to trauma to residential. And so just love the mental health aspect, and how do we get this information to our community for us to address the issues that we do face.
Yeah, I love it. We got a comment here from Yumika Little. She talks about how Black men in mental health is underrepresented. I agree with you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. Why do you think that is the case?
I think maybe number one, I would say in the human services field as a whole, Black men are underrepresented. But I just think also the stigma that's behind it, and then also, if I have to involve myself in a service, what does it say about me? Or am I now uncovering some things that I was afraid to uncover? So now that I'm actually working in the service, it is something kind of going on. And so I think we need to move past those, what people may think or say,
and
be able to move forward to help people.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. Trey been following me. I appreciate my brother Trey out here. He's talking about how learning mental health is learning people and their behaviors coming from all walks of life.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. Since May is Mental Health Month, Mental Health Awareness Month, and what we're doing, why do you think there's so much disparity with Black men in particular, men? And then we go Black and brown men about mental health and mental health services.
Gotcha. Well, one of the root things in mental health is I have to talk. I have to talk about my feelings. I have to talk about my emotions. And unfortunately, there is this stigma.
Yes.
There or this thing that Black men are not supposed to talk and express their feelings. That has been the most disheartening and crutch that we have done to our community.
Yes.
I'm a firm believer that, in order for you to heal from something, you have to be able to discuss it, figure out what's going on, and be able to move forward. But because we have been taught so many times that, Black men are not supposed to express their feelings, Black men are not supposed to talk, then we're now, or even, smile. How many times, you see some pictures and as Black men, you don't see a lot of us smile in the pictures. And so exactly, like we got to play this hard game, and I think it has kind of hindered us. Hindered us to being in good relationships, hindered us to have a relationship with our parents, our family members, because we have this kind of this core around us, and I think it really has hindered us.
Yeah, I have this T-shirt I love. It says "Black men smile."
Yeah.
In that, with that, I love it. But she says, Black men will talk about their feelings in a different setting. With that, yes, I agree. But
we don't feel judged.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Say it again.
If we don't feel judged,
that's it. That's
has to be a safe place.
Not a traditional setting that we may. That's right. To accustomed to. Right. When there's that feeling. I love it. Thank you, James. James Bush. Black men do smile. That's right, my brother. We do smile. And you know what? Black men are happy people.
Right. We're not men are angry,
Right. We don't all walk around angry and all that.
Exactly.
Yeah. But anger is appropriate for certain situations. Why is it that we can't have these conversations to be like, yes, I'm angry and I'm angry for a reason with that and be able to justify the reason for our anger. In that, yes. I'm loving all these. Keep the questions and comments coming in with that. Mary was talking about, says, what is one sign we can tell a family member is going through mental health? That's a good question.
Good question.
Great question. So tell us, Jason, what's one sign that we can tell that a family member might be going through? I'm just going to keep posting some other stuff. Yeah.
And I'll actually tie that trauma piece into that, because that trauma is really important. So if you think about someone that has experienced trauma, and then let's say your child or your family member was a happy-go-lucky person and things were going to be, and it was just that child or that adult member that was just going through life and enjoying life. And then all of a sudden there was a change. They may not enjoy some of the things that they were once doing, or they may stay away from the family, or they may not go out and do some things that they used to do as a family member. They were in school and they now. So when you see signs where people are changing their behavior, that may be one way you can say, okay, let me pull you aside. Let's just talk and see what's kind of going on. It may just be something's going on seasonal, but it's an opportunity to open the door to say, you know what, there was a change in this person's behavior. So let me figure out what's going on. And that's pretty much from that trauma perspective, that they experience a traumatic situation, and then their behaviors kind of change. So you may need to have that conversation with that family member.
Yeah, I love even Dante was talking about since we're not taught how to handle the anger and emotions in a healthy and productive way. That is so true with that, because there is, like I was saying, anger can be justified. But how do we talk through it in a way? Because if you're told to always shut up, to suppress it, to man up. I'm still trying to figure out what that means.
What that means, right?
Yeah. In that, and I get what they're trying to say, but we need to teach them. Say what I'm saying by man up is mean. Listen, let's talk about this situation. Let's reason through this. Yes, you're angry, but your angry is going to lead to destruction because we're already labeled as angry black men. Yeah, and then can I just go here? Because we come in all different shades and everything else. And unfortunately, you and I are two different shades in this. And so you might get stuck with even that label just because you are of a darker and richer skin tone than I am. Oh, so we have this prejudgment. Oh, he's just another angry black man without knowing you're in the mental health profession.
Right. Exactly. And I think that's another thing. Like, people will put labels on us, but we have to make sure that we don't wear those labels that people give us.
That's good.
We have to take ownership of who we are and not hold on to the labels that people put on.
Yes. That's so important with that. I'm going to go to a couple comments. My nephew, hey nephew, he's on here. It says there's a shift that's happening. I'm so glad. And the wave being led by gentlemen like yourselves. Yes, thank you. That are slowly breaking down those walls. Hey, I appreciate that, Khalif. Thank you. It says a young man like himself, I appreciate this. I appreciate you saying that.
Thank you.
And everything, and praying for him as he just lost a dear friend to alcohol poisoning just on yesterday as well. And that's a whole nother topic about when we talk about how we use drugs, alcohol, weed, or whatever to try and push down some of our feelings because we have not learned how to identify or even to, as Dante was even saying, how to process our anger in a healthy and productive way.
Exactly.
Yes. So we get beyond that label and that we are angry black men in that regards as well. Trey, black people in general need to get beyond the stigma. I agree. Black men need to know seeking mental health services, counseling does not mean that you are crazy. Amen for that, Trey. You're not crazy. Talk about that, Mr. Jason.
So, interesting enough, and you and I kind of had this conversation kind of pre the show. I was asking, about you being in the ministry. And so what is what is interesting, and I cannot talk about mental health without bringing up the church. And so, so many of us, we've been taught for so many years, take it to God. Take it to Jesus, pray about it, those type of things. So you're up at the altar praying, or you getting hands laid on you, you have the church praying for you. And then when you leave that altar, that experience, you're still going home and you're facing depression because of your situation. Or if you at the altar and you're having this prayer, but you're still hearing voices. And so we're sitting and waiting. So I think, we need to even move to the church, because, that's a lot of our foundation is the Black church. And we need to bring more mental health programs and more mental health awareness into the church as well. It bothers me and it bamboozles me when you have a congregation of people, and the congregation of the people are suffering from untreated mental health.
Yes.
And so we're preaching every day, we're collecting, offering, we're doing all these things, and we rolling up on the pew, shouting, speaking in tongues. You know how we do in the church.
Mm-hmm.
And then we leave there and go back home to the same situation. And then we do it all over again that following Sunday. So I think it's just important that we do need to seek mental health. And it's okay. It is so okay to see a counselor. It is so okay to see a psychiatrist.
Yes.
Because just how you go to church and talk to your pastor or your leaders and all that about what's going on in your life, you can also go see a professional who's credentialed to serve you in that magnitude. And so we have to move beyond thinking I'm crazy because I'm going to seek services. No, you're crazy.
I love it. The line is going, people are going crazy on here. I love it. I love it. But you're absolutely right. Well, okay, we'll get a couple more things here. Here's Alana. This says the many men I work with say that they're not taught the importance of talking about and addressing. That's exactly what Dante was saying with that. That's absolutely great. Great. It says, do Black men have safe spaces to express? I agree with you. A lot of times we don't. Right, because the only three topics we talk about in the barbershop is women, money, and sex. Right, because that becomes a safety for us. But you're right. We have to create these safe environments in which to talk about these things. And I'm going to. So I don't know if Dante's challenging. Dante, is that a challenge? I would love to have you come on, man, so we can talk about some things about that as well.
Right.
So we can definitely talk through what that looks like and everything. In fact, hold on. No, I can't do that. I'm trying to see if I can get him in there. I ain't got time to be getting Dante. Dante, you're getting on my nerves, but I love you. No, I'm on time. That's my boy and everything. Yep, there we go. With that. Dante, I just sent you an invite if you have some time to jump in here with us if you won't and everything. But with that, Dante has an amazing show called The Dante Show. And I've been on his show and everything. And we talk about mental health with that as well. So glad to have Dante, and he does some stuff too. But what happens is we do have to have that. And Teresa Jones says is another issue that the church sweeps under the rug. And Teresa, I hear you, but I think sometimes what happens is because I am a licensed ordained minister, and I have a master's in theology as well. But one of the things that we don't do, we don't have a course at least in my course in theology, we didn't have one on counseling. And the counseling, I thank God for my pastor and pastors who are not afraid of therapists, because I'm not trying to take the place of the pastor. I don't want that job. I thought I did. I don't want that job. But you're being very considerate to make sure that, listen, my pastor says, listen, I give you 3 spiritual advice tactics, but after that, you need to see Marty. Okay, Dante just got on. I appreciate you, Dante. I'm gonna bring you on in the room. What's going on, Dante?
What's going on, Dante?
What's up? My bad. I'm sorry. I didn't connect. My mic ain't connected or nothing.
Right. I appreciate you jumping on and everything like this. You know, go ahead.
Yeah. No, I'm looking. I forgot to put my title. Y'all putting titles in winner. I put my name.
Why are you crazy, man?
No, I think it's an interesting conversation because even like I said on the thread, a lot of the comments are predominantly women.
Yes.
You know, and Marty, when I had you on my show, I even talked about that. I said, we talk about safe spaces for men. But oftentimes what happens in those safe spaces is we'll get, Tammy and Tanya and Trina, they trickling in through the back because they want to sit and see what we're talking about. And if a man is not allowed to feel safe enough to possibly break down and cry in front of his brothers without the ladies in the back say, see, there it go. He must be on the DL. Something is wrong. You know, men are never gonna just come out that shell to deal with those traumas that Jason talked about.
But you're absolutely right. We have to, because even with therapy, with that, I have the wives calling for their husbands, or the moms calling for their sons, their adult sons. I had a new patient today that was 22-year-old black male, and I'm like, how did you refer? Well, my mama told me I had to. And so in that, so I was like, listen, you 22. And what I'm not going to do is talk to your mama in order to talk to you.
Right. And so if I can just even throw in some, go from a different perspective as well. When we think about just 1619 as a whole, and so when we arrived here in 1619 as enslaved, as freed people that became enslaved, the black man's mind at that time, was being shifted and all those things. So for years of oppression and all of those things for the black man. From 1619 up until now. So it's going to take a whole ongoing shift of years to address that mindset as well. So you have years of oppression that has built this mindset. And then now it's going to take some years of reconstruction of the mind to get us where we are. But I do think we are better than where we once were.
I agree with you.
And so we're making strides, but it's going to take, some years to kind of get those changes going.
One of my boys, Vendon, what's going on? He says, listen, it's very difficult when we don't have the support to be transparent and to be honest. I love that comment right there. When you don't have the support, being transparent, because you're right. I know lots of women who's trying to sneak in and do. What even gets me, and again, is no disrespect to our women or anything like that. I was going after a grant for specifically Black fathers, and I
remember that. Yeah.
But of the providers that were trying to apply for it, of the 8 for the pre-bidding conference and to ask questions of 6 of them were women. And I'm just going, I can't tell you how to be a Black mama. So this is for Black fathers because right now the morbidity rate for Black children is still 2 times higher than the general population. So there's a problem that we have to address, and we have to bring the Black father with the Black mama or whatever that might be, or if he dating a white woman or something, whatever that might be, because anytime there's any type of inkling of Black in that blood, you are considered Black.
One drop rule.
One drop. And so we have to find that. So we have all these women applying to mentor and even do training classes, parenting classes with Black men. I'm like, this is crazy. You need another Black man to tell you how to come along to be a side. Now you can assist if you want to, but we're not given the freedom to have all Black male driven entities to help train and teach other Black men.
Exactly.
But I think Jason said something that was crucial. He put a date on it. He date stamped it, and just went back to just where it all began, where the root is. And if you look at it from that perspective, like we're dealing with hundreds of years of just abuse, and all that just layered. So when you tell someone, okay, we're going to help you get out of that space or whatever, we don't even know what's on the other side of that. If all we're used to is a certain way of existing, a certain way of living, a certain kind of mentality, that other side can be very, very, very scary. And I think when we ask people to live a certain way, we also got to realize that too can be traumatic, taking them into a new normal.
You're right. He says, plus we're socialized to be quote unquote strong, and sometimes tears. I don't think sometimes. I think a lot of times we think the Black man who cries or the man who is weak, they're a punk. They're not cut off. Where we're not allowed again to even. I think it's a sad commentary when I have patients and they said and they talk about their fathers. They say, "I've never seen my daddy cry. My dad didn't even when his own mama died or something." I'm like, that's not good.
That's not good. Yeah, right. It was even a situation recently where I kind of intervened. There was a former military individual about. I'm only 5'5", so this dude was about 6'5", and so there was a young man that was running around church. He had to be about maybe like 5 or 6, and he was running and he slipped and he fell. I mean, he his head hit the pew. So then his mom went rushing to him, and she was kind of just calling him and telling him it's gonna be okay or what have you. And then this 6'5" dude came and told him, "Man, stop crying." I'm like, nah, let this 5-6-year-old cry because he's hurt.
Right.
He hit his head on the pew. So he's hurt. And so allow him to understand what that emotion means. And so if you're angry, don't suppress it. Understand what anger is, what it is, and why you're feeling this way, so you can communicate to other people. Like if you do a behavior that I don't like and it made me angry, and if I suppress it and hold it in, you can keep doing that behavior, and I'm going to get angry and angry at you because you keep doing it, but it's not fair to you because I didn't let you know that what you did made me angry. And I think that suppression of all of our emotions is really kind of why we have heart attacks, why we have so many medical problems, because when you withhold your emotions, you're really addressing now your physical perspective as well. So if you think about the African-American male and the physical problems we go through, let's look at how did we express our emotions, thoughts, and feelings. So it all works together.
But we don't take into account that all the integrative things that happen. When our mind is not healthy, our bodies then it manifests itself out in so many ways. That's why we have high blood pressure. That's why we have diabetes. That's why we can be overweight and all that. And I think this pandemic has been prevalent in bringing those things to our forefront, to the attention, especially down south. Those we're dying in disproportionate numbers because of this. And part of the reason has been because of the comorbidity issues that we already exist within us. We don't have the physical strength now to fight off something like this flu. Our mental and physical health is so important.
Right. And it's also, can I just add, just for the, and since the women want to be in the room, it also does not help when a mother tells her son, "You just like your no good daddy." Especially when all the son wants is his mother's love. All he wants is his mother's approval, his mother's affirmation. He's doing the best he can to show his mother that he's a big boy, that he's going to be a good man. And because she's so traumatized by that bad man that she chose, now she's pouring that on her son and saying, "You're just like him." Well, DNA, he's gonna have some of the same traits as his daddy. Yeah, he's gonna have that.
Made up from the daddy.
Right. So now as he gets older, he's just confused about relationships. His mama don't want him, don't love him, compares him to this man that he never met, but knows that the man is no good. And it's those kind of triggers and seeds that we're planting in young men from a very early age, that now when they become older men, they don't know how to deconstruct that stuff because they're not going to go see Jason or Marty. No, they're not going to do that.
Dante, you open up a whole can of worms.
I'm known for doing that.
And I'm going to say this now, and I'm kind of glad we're on a virtual platform versus being in a workshop room, because it will be interesting to see some facial expressions on this question I'm about to ask. But since we do have a lot of women callers on, which is really good, and we appreciate that. If I were to take a poll and ask the mothers on the phone, how many times have you said to your son that your daddy ain't, or you just said these things to your dad, to your child, right? And then I'm going to go to the next step. And this is like, a little activity I want you all to do while you're listening. If you said that to your child, the next step is you're now damaging your child because you are confusing your child's mind, because your child loves you and they want to love their dad. So when you make that statement about their dad, you're damaging them because you're hurting something that they love. So you have now damaged your child, or in other words, put another layer of trauma on your child. So now when your child is acting out and you now continue to make those statements and you're trying to figure out why your child's acting out at school or wherever, you got to look at yourself. You made a hateful statement toward the person that you made a decision to have this child with. So look at how we're damaging our kids when we make those statements.
But can I take it one more step further than that? You're teaching them to hate themselves.
Exactly.
Right.
because daddy is a part of me. Daddy's blood runs in me. So if you hate my daddy, therefore my daddy is in me, I then have to hate him. Therefore I hate myself. I then breed low self-esteem. I breed self-hatred. I breed I can never amount to anything. I breed I can never be good enough. So we're now putting trauma on top of trauma, hatred on top of hatred, low self-esteem, all those things. Then you wonder, well, why aren't you doing anything? Well, you already said I'm just like my daddy. And you
my daddy no good, so I'm not any good.
Exactly. But
and please don't lie and say the daddy ain't no good. And then when the son meets his daddy is everything, the polar opposite of what you said he was. Now he's side-eyeing you because you denied him his father because you were so angry at this man. You know, so now this son who's been longing for his daddy, longing for his father, and because you, mom, said your daddy ain't nothing, you don't need to meet him, he ain't about nothing. Then when you get of age and meet your dad and like, this dude is cool. I've been denied my whole life from someone I could have vibed off of. I could have avoided so many obstacles. Mom, why you do that to me, mom? Why?
So now mom now has some unaddressed trauma that she's taken out on her child. Now the child has trauma. So then when they do meet dad, and like, what in the world? So now you have all this trauma that's layer. And then we grow up to be adults and we now don't address it.
Right. Yeah. I love what LaShawn says. She says her mother would say that to her, but she chose not to say that to her son. Look, we applaud you. We applaud you for that one because
thank you for your transparency.
Yes.
For sharing that.
It is.
Because my dad wasn't there, and my mother said, I will always ask. My mom said, when you meet him, make your own decision. That was all she ever said, you know. And then when I met him, I made my own decision. Like, oh, well, you know, she was on to something. But it's just like, I think that parents have to understand that kids have a longing. They have a longing, and we got to be honest. You know, we can't take our own, you know, angers and frustrations out on that child.
You're right. And we have to realize, like you're saying, Dante, we have to learn how to also do this thing that we don't like doing, co-parent. And our kids are not pawns in a game of chess.
Right.
That we
use. It's okay to seek therapy to help you with this.
Thank you.
It's okay to go to therapy.
But that goes against the stigma that we have in the black and brown communities. What goes on in our house stays on the house. I know we got dysfunction. Listen, you show me any family, and I can shake the tree hard enough for some dysfunctions gonna fall out.
Right. And you know, I love to hear when they say, you know, I've prayed about it, I've given it to the Lord. Okay, but he needs you to do some action steps.
Yeah, faith without works is dead.
Yeah, he needs to make an appointment. You know, he needs to address this stuff. You know,
I all the time. I say I really think Christ was a cognitive behavioral therapist. He said, because as a man thinking, so is he. He just don't play with me
all day long.
Right, because we have to start changing our minds. When we begin to change our minds, we then begin to change our behaviors. It should happen like that, because anyone who keeps doing the same thing and they're not changing their mind, or they're saying something and their actions don't meet up with what they believe, we you know, they live on the cray side. With that, and we have to stop acting like this. You may not like your ex, you may even be with the person you don't like now, but don't blame the kids. They didn't ask you to sleep with that person, you decided to, and that's a result of it. So we have to stop punishing our kids in that way. I love what your mom said, Dante. Make your own decision about your daddy.
Right. And then when I met him, I saw that he and I had so many similarities, and I was able to understand the parts of me that got on my nerves. I was like, why do I do this? Then I met him. I said, oh, that's where I get this from, you know, and I could better understand him and why he did certain things. So my mom would be like, so you met him? How is he? I'm like, well, you met him first, but I understood him because I am him. So certain things I got. You know? So I think it just made a huge difference. It made a huge difference.
Yeah, there's a question for you, Dante, from Trey. Says, because your mom told you, says, do you think that you were looking for his flaws?
Yeah, I did. I walked into it rubbing my chin, like, let me see what's wrong with you, why you didn't stick around, why y'all didn't get along, why y'all broke up. And then knowing my mother and then meeting my father, I understood why it didn't work.
Right.
But I did so under my own terms.
Right.
I wasn't forced to perceive him one way because that's unfair to him. Because of course I'm with my mom, I'm loving my mom, but I wanted to know my dad. So I love him the way he can get love, and I love her the way she can get love. You know?
Vyndon made this amazing. He says, meeting my dad also answered questions for me. Says, I also realized I would do things differently.
Right.
With it, yes. And I think that's, and Vyndon's an amazing father and everything. He's one of the ones I go to when I'm like, okay, I'm about to kill my son. What I need to, somebody better save him because there's about to be a funeral and I'm like resurrecting from the dead and do all of that. But I love it because myself, Vyndon, Steve, Brent, we have this amazing bond as brothers that we can create this safety net. We go out, but this pandemic has kept us. But once a month, we have just a boys, wives, all them are not involved. They can't stay. Your boo thing and all them, they can't come. But we just have just a male bonding time to talk about finances, to talk about ups and downs, to talk about stuff that we can't share on this podcast that we talk, but in the safety. And I know them Negroes got my back. And if I can call them right now, okay, we about to roll over here because some folks them pissed me off and they got me. And now they might cuss me out later and be like, Negro, that was wrong what you did, but I got you. Right. We have this safe place. I've cried with them. They've cried with me with that. And it's a wonderful thing to have people like that. And we don't think of each other any differently. In fact, they're my brothers and I'll do anything for them. Go ahead, Jason.
So you brought up a really good point, Marty, and that kind of goes again with that services or things that you can do to help with your mental health is who's your social connection?
Yeah.
Who are the people that you are socially connected to that will not judge you, that will, hold you accountable, will support you in all those things, and are they healthy social connections? Right. And so that's another piece of, that mental health piece is who am I connected to?
Right.
And it's really important to assess those connections because those connections can either help your mental health or further, damage your mental health.
You're absolutely right with that, knowing who we're surrounded with and connecting with and everything on that nature. So Dante, you got to definitely have Jason on your show here soon and everything. Yeah, because let's go
connect us via inbox. Jason Trust. Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. Those are my nights. Any day you want, done.
Every time I turn on the internet, you on.
Right. Hey, it's brand building, man. Brand building.
I understand because
I gotta pay for this doctorate.
Time is done.
I got student loans. They ain't canceled these debts yet. I'm still waiting for that. God said wait. I'm waiting.
No, but you're doing some powerful stuff. I missed last night's show, but my business partner Trisha was like, "You got to go see Dante."
Yeah, Trisha, I saw her. She was on there.
Yes,
yeah, definitely.
Jason has written a couple books. Jason, talk to us about your books you've written and how we can get them.
Okay, so the first book up there is Tried in the Fire, and Tried in the Fire is a depending on how you want to read it. It's actually a trauma narrative book, and it has different stories of people who have endured trauma, and then you also have some self-help techniques. So it allows you to identify what is your own story, and then it provides you with tools and techniques to help you get through whatever your situation is. And again, it's trauma narratives for you to identify your story, and then also to hold you accountable to address your story. And so you can actually get that book on Amazon. You can actually just go to Amazon and just type in Tried in the Fire, Jason T. Mahoney, and it'll pop up. And that's actually a really cool book. It really helps you to really look at stories and then assess your own. What do I need to do to address myself?
Yeah. And then your next book you have is
So Letters to Our Brothers, that is it was a Amazon bestseller. It was released in December, and by the latter part of December, early part of January, it was a bestseller. It was one of Walmart's doorbusters. Their online doorbusters for Black Friday, and so it's also in Target online store. But the whole premise behind Letters to Our Brothers is it included 44 Black men, including myself, and we came together and we just drafted letters that we would want to share with another Black man. And the premises of how we wrote the letters were, when I sent the information out to the brothers to participate, I asked them to write a letter from whatever perspective. The perspective may be, what are some words that you wish you heard from your father? Or what are some words that you would want to tell your son or your grandson? What are some words that you would tell a brother that's in prison? So they were able to sit and actually write letters to brothers based on whichever way that they want to write from it. And the book is made up of 44 Black men from all different socioeconomic statuses, different walks of lives, educational status. And so pretty much it's a combination of just words of empowerment, healing, to really let Black men know that, we matter. We can get through whatever we're going through. One of the brothers in the book, he was a young brother, and he experienced an episode of being blind at one point. And then he put in the book, he said it was when he was blind, that is when he could really see at that particular moment. And so it was in his blindness that he was able to see what he needed to do to matriculate through life. And fast forward, he gained his sight back. And so it's a lot of testimonies in there to let brothers know that they can. We have a brother that had a prison sentence for many years due to criminal activity, drugs, and all those things. And then now he turned his life around. Now he's actually a licensed clinical addiction specialist. So the interesting thing about that is, for those that are licensed and certified, we know that it's hard to get your license even with a clean criminal record.
Right.
So
right. But you got to go to BPS and get the background checks.
Exactly. And all. Right. So you have a brother who endured these situations, and now he has his license and he's doing therapy. And so it really provides Black men just an opportunity to say, you know what, somebody's speaking to me. And whenever a brother finds himself in life, he can identify with one of the brothers in the book who has kind of walked some of the same paths that he's walked, and able to see, okay, these are some words that I can use and apply to my life. And that also can be found on Amazon.com. And you can just type in Letters to Our Brothers by Jason T. Mahoney.
I just found it in my cart.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Teresa Jones, about all his books are good. I'm trying to grow up like you, Jason.
That's
Jason,
what's up, man.
And of course, so I'm sharing this. Jason has been working with me, so I'm writing my first draft of my book. Dante is in us right now, called From Encouragement to Empowerment, 30 Days of Mental Motivation. So Jason has been helping me with that, with his publishing company that he works with and everything. And Dante is also an amazing author as well. Dante says, I have you on here.
Let me hear this book.
My books aren't as motivating as Jason.
It doesn't matter.
My books are erotic smut. I write seedy stories.
But that's a book that called what?
Right. Listen, if you go to Amazon, go to Amazon, type in Dante Morrison, you will see The End of the Rainbow and Yesterday Clarified. Basically, they're fact-based fiction about my life, my journey as a Black gay man living with HIV, and all the stuff that I went through to get to my place of just assurance, going through the Black church struggles, relationship struggles, all those kind of challenges that a lot of people face, but we don't talk about it. We don't hear about it. So they're very, I wrote them like, wow, it's been almost 10 years.
Wow.
People are still hitting me up saying, yo, I finally read your book. That was solid. That was good. Make it a movie, because it really goes deep. And it just talks about, we look at relationships and people view relationships through a heteronormative lens, not realizing that love is love. And heartbreak is heartbreak. I don't care if you're a woman who got your heart broke by a woman, man, woman. It doesn't matter. When your heart has been broken and you've hit that dark space in life where you feel like you cannot get out, you're all by yourself, you want someone to listen to you without judgment. and to hear you. And when I went through those dark spaces in my life, I would have loved to have the church have my back and support me and pull me out. They weren't there. Wow. You know, I didn't know about therapy because I was told all you need is Jesus. And if you're being told your whole life that you're an outcast and Jesus doesn't love your kind, I can't call on Jesus in my dark hour. I can't go to a therapist because therapy is not something Black folks do. Can't go to your family because your family doesn't cash you out. You know, what do you do as a Black gay man? You know, just found out your whole world is turned upside down. Who do you talk to? Wow. Where do you go? And that really catapulted me down my life journey to where I am now, you know, a year away from my PhD. Who God, you know, just, you know, going through all those.
Morrison.
Right, Dr. Morrison coming soon. I'll have my title on there. You know, you go through all those seasons when you realize that really all you got is you. And if you don't know who you are and then find out for yourself who God is, you know, you're going to lose it. And you will turn to all kind of other addictive behaviors that will just ruin your life forever. I could be on meth. I could be an alcoholic. I could be a sex addict. I could be a gay man married to a woman, you know, taking her through my flume of confusion because I want to be accepted by the church, you know. And then you're right. It made me closer to God. So how I know God is totally different than how folks say I should know God. And that gets battled all the time. So Jason, when you come on my show, we'll unpack what the faith-based community does to the mental health of Black men.
You know, Doctor, let me ask you this. So when you were talking,
I'm on the couch now. Here we go. Come on, Jason. You saw us hold the meter. He got his tablet. So
trauma hat on. So
right.
But all jokes aside, so let me ask you this, and it'll kind of tie in to just the concept of a book. So one thing that I do when it comes to writing, I encourage everybody to write a book. So thank you for saying that you wrote your book. So just let me ask you this as far as your book process, and then there's a reason why I asked the question. I'll share this. So when you wrote your book, what did it give to you?
It gave me a release.
Okay.
It gave me a solid release, and it gave me a voice. And it also gave me something to reach back on and say, okay, at least I did that. Because for a long time, I felt I had not accomplished anything because my gayness had me boxed in. You can't do this because you're gay. You can't go here because you're gay. You'll never have relationships. You never have a solid love because you're gay. Gay was just had me bound, but I knew it's who I was. Even when I tried to be straight, I'm like, this is not me. I'm gay. So my books gave me just a base to really just express and to vent and to put it on paper and say, here, just read this. If you want to know about me, read this. This is what all I went through. Yeah, it may be dramatized and all that, but I wrote these books from my experiences.
So when we talk about May being Mental Health Month and this whole platform that we're talking about right now is mental health and trauma and all of those things. And so we can all acknowledge that right now in the Black community, we're being traumatized because, you know, we just, you know, heard about what happened to the young brother in Georgia. So that's another layer of trauma that's been added onto us and Black people and then Black men as a whole. So when we think about May as mental health awareness, and the statistics show that we do need mental health treatment, that we don't seek mental health treatment. So that's the fact with the statistics, okay? So when we think about May being Mental Health Awareness Month, we think about the trauma that we're enduring right now just as Black people, and then another layer of just the trauma that we as Black men sometimes endure. What people have just heard just from this mini session right here is different tools and techniques that they can help them through their mental health journey. So what I really want to take from this when it comes to that trauma and that mental health piece is, number one, we heard that acknowledge the fact that mental health is present. Accept it. It is what it is. And then the second part that I kind of took away is Marty talked about your social connection. Who is in your circle that is helping you? So who's in your circle that you can trust? Because if you're going through a situation and you're with a group of people that you can't trust them to talk to them about your situation, I need you to exit that relationship or exit that friendship and get connected with people who are going to help you out tremendously. And I want to go to you, Dante, when the reason I ask you about the book is I push people to write. And I push people to write because writing is healing. And writing is not only healing for yourself, but it's healing for somebody else. I always say that your story is not for your deliverance and applause, it's for somebody else. And so right, by writing your book, you gave others a voice. Exactly. And so I encourage everybody to write a book. So that's why I'm pushing Marty as hard as I am now to write his book, because going back to 1619, we were not allowed to read nor write.
Right.
We have the opportunity to read and write as Black people. But guess what? The myth is, if you want to hide something from a Black person,
write it down. Yep.
And we're okay, with living like that. And we all know that. Right. And we know that that's a myth, and that angers me, because how can you buy your child or how can you celebrate all these things when you still reading on the first grade level and you 35 years old?
Right.
You know, how can you continue to pour all these resources into unneeded resources into your kids, and then but your child is in school but can't read or write? And so I urge everybody to write a book, because writing a book, it tells your story and it helps somebody else, and then also it leaves a legacy.
Right.
So when all of us pass away 300 years from now, when you look, a book never goes away.
Right.
You can go back and get a book from the 1800s to 1600s, 1200s. A book is always going to be there. So Dante, Marty, and myself, when all of us as pass to the other side, and when we have that book there, do you realize that 100 years later, 200 years from now, what we wrote today is going to help somebody in the future? So I encourage everybody to write a book.
Yes.
If you need some help, you can reach out to me, Dante, Marty, anybody. We can help.
Reach out.
That's
write
right.
your story, because your story is mental health 101 to help somebody else.
Right. No, and don't write it to be famous.
No.
Right. Don't write to be famous. Right.
Don't write to be famous. Don't write to get paid.
Right.
Just write it. Just write it. Yeah.
Exactly.
We've talked about so much, especially now we went to Black men that read and write. We're already defying the odds right there. And then Dante, again, a Black man who has a PhD. Wow. With that. So I applaud you, man. And it's time, I bet you, it's time to write the next one. You're already in a writing.
It'll be totally different now. I mean, I've changed, I've evolved so much.
But we all evolve.
Yeah.
We all
I can't wait to write the next one. I
I'm
cannot
excited.
wait to write it.
Yeah. So Jason, are you putting together a Black writers a tour or something like that? We need to be doing, and that's one of the things I'm going to be doing each month, bringing on and I'm being specific in 2020 and inviting only Black male writers on purpose, because we don't see enough of them. And having this on this format, and Dante, I'm going to challenge you as well. Maybe we both co-host it or something that we're three of us or what have you, because we need to highlight Black men who are writers and authors, and then encourage people to buy these books for their sons, for their daughters, for that, especially yours, Jason, Letters to My Brothers. We need that. So we can talk through that as well and encourage our young men to read and to speak up.
We need to highlight Black excellence, period.
Yeah.
Right.
Because what unfortunately social media, what kids have access to, what the world has access to, is such a diluted perception of the Black community. And it's unfortunate that what goes viral is not the excellence. It's not the life-changing, affirming stories. It's the BS. It's the stuff that does not fully reflect us. We're not out there all fighting each other, shooting each other, drinking, smoking. We're not doing that. A lot of us know how to have healthy, articulate conversations, but that's not what's getting supported or shared on social media.
So I'm gonna even go to a grassroots perspective with what you just said, Dante, is that I think just in our communities, we don't celebrate how we should.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I say that when you think about a young person that won the spelling bee. Right. We may get maybe a few parents or a few people to applaud that and post that and keep it going. But we don't really throw a whole celebration because little Johnny passed the spelling bee. We don't do that. But if little Johnny made the basketball team and being recruited, then we done shut down the whole school system and all of those things. But and while I support that, us as going into the athletics or what have you, I support that. Really good, proud of us. But I think we don't celebrate the same way we celebrate the athletes. We need to celebrate those young people who are doing well academically. If you the whole pep rally just to celebrate that young person who's promoted to the next grade. And I've kind of seen it so many times where, young person got MVP or everybody's at the football game. And so we can go to a football game to celebrate that person being MVP and you got everybody there. But when you have that young person who won the spelling bee or that young person who's just doing good work academically, who got community service hours, we don't celebrate those things to the extent that we should. So then what will go viral is those things that maybe those negative things. So I think we need to get back to being grassroots and celebrating our young people for their success. And I think, again, that goes back into the mental health. Right. When you don't celebrate everybody, how does that young person feel and how do they grow up and all those things? So it's a lot of things that we do in our community. And I hate to say this, there are a lot of things that we do in our community that is contributing to ongoing disparities in mental health for us.
And you take it one step further. We got two brothers. We'll throw a barbecue for the one that comes home from jail. But the one that graduates high school, he'll get to go to Sizzler and that's it. But the one that gets home from jail, Junebug getting a whole barbecue festival, the whole nine. But the one who stayed in school and graduated, well, okay, we'll go to dinner real quick. But your brother get out tomorrow. Okay,
and yes, so, excited that he got out, but let's be excited for the one who's definitely has tried to take the right road and trying to bring us economic health and wealth in that as well, because we have to change our mindset in that. And we want to talk about the prison disparities and all
that.
Talk about that. Can I go back to the church for a second? I just can't leave the black church.
Oh, well, that's my dissertation topic. So we can stay there for a while.
So, and again, I'm just saying it's mental health awareness month, right? I just want to keep that at the forefront. So I'm curious as to how many pastors that are doing live and my pastor, which is an awesome pastor. So, I'm a radical. So, that's my boy. So shout out to my pastor, good people. So there are a lot of pastors that are going live now, doing Bible study and doing everything on Sunday. I would challenge every pastor or every leader in the church that is on this call to incorporate mental health awareness in your service, your platform. I charge you to do that. And even furthermore, it's interesting how we can have a gospel program and pack the house. But if we have a workshop on improving our mental health in the community, we might have 10 people show up. But that gospel program, we got 500 people, and we don't pick up a really good offering. But when we have something, to help us, it'd be so you can hear a mouse pee on cotton. That's how that's how quiet it is, and how many people are there. And so I challenge, and I would love to hear from anybody that's on this platform, especially anybody that knows me, and you're a leader in church or what have you. I would be curious to know, what are you willing to do with this information? Because it's good to listen, but if you're not doing any actions behind it, we had a great show. We had a really good show, met some good people, but what are you doing with this information? And I'm curious to hear from pastors and church leadership to say, what are you willing to shift your church service to address your congregation's mental health?
Well, I would say my church does it. because our co-pastor, my bishop's wife, she is a therapist. So we're big on mental health, and I'm big on mental health. So I push the agenda of, we got broken folks up in the church, and it's going to take more than sitting at the altar. They're going to need some post-prayer discussions with a therapist. That's why God gave us degrees.
That's right. Amen. You're right. You're right. No, and I think it's a wonderful challenge in that we keep shouting this message. And I'll say from the church rooftops, from the steeples and everything else, that, again, we're not here to be the pastors. We're definitely here to support the pastors, but also we are trained to do more in-depth work with the people, as well as yes, we believe in prayer. I have this shirt. I love it. It says, I can pray and see my therapist all at the same time. And still keep my salvation. But with that, we got to keep encouraging that and moving on with the mental health, and definitely keep it in the forefront of people saying it's okay, and we want to definitely let's not make sure we don't have pastors. But I love this. Let's make sure we not only call out the pastors, but the church leaders, right, as well, to emphasize mental health. That's right.
Accountability.
Accountability. And I actually did a show about that where I talked about, I personally feel that if a person's going to be in a pastoral position, they need to have some kind of mental health training as well, because they are being charged to govern someone's life. Mm-hmm. It's like you got all these people listening to you. You are the voice of the community. And if you're not certified, if you don't have any kind of behavioral therapy training or whatever, you can be guiding the sheep to the cliff. And then they jump off. And are you going to stand back and say, well, I guess that was the Lord's will? No, that was not the Lord's will. That was your poor stewardship, because you were not equipped, to handle their mental health issues. So I personally feel that if anybody's going to step in the pulpit and call himself a pastor, a leader, a guide, or whatever, there should be some kind of formal training required, a mandate. That's just me, though.
And there is a training out there, how to make your church a trauma-informed church. And if anybody is interested in that, they can reach out to Marty and myself. But it's pretty much a curriculum to help a church become trauma-informed.
Oh, I want to share that. Give me that.
Okay.
Give me that.
I'll loop you guys in that conversation, and through email, we'll make it happen. But it's how to become a trauma-informed church.
Because we're also not helping our pastors. We're not helping our pastors.
We're not.
Our pastors. My thing now, and I got to go after this. I got another Zoom. My thing is this. Once we come off of quarantine, our pastors are going to be inundated with the traumas that occurred while we're isolated.
People can't good right now.
People cannot have funerals. Yeah. They can't grieve their loved ones. They've been disassociated from their family. They're going to go to their pastor and say, my mother died on the quarantine. My sister died. I couldn't get back to New York to go back. If the pastor is not mentally able, because the pastor may have lost loved ones throughout this season, and the sheep don't understand that the shepherd needs help as well. And we don't allow our pastors to be vulnerable. We don't allow them to be human. And the minute the pastor breaks, we say, oh, get him out of office because he can't handle it. No, he can't handle you. He can handle the office, but he can't handle you not being able to handle yourself. And I think we need to really be mindful that we have to lift these pastors up, because they're in positions of authority, but they're dealing with everyone's trauma, and no one is considering what they are going through.
Absolutely.
Once this lifts, we're going to see pastors probably quit and say, I can't do this.
Doctor, you talking real good, because if you think about it, when COVID-19 is over, or we ever even get into a point of some type of normalcy, we're now going back to a situation where people were not able to grieve properly over their loved ones. They weren't able to actually, we go through a whole process when someone passes away. So we weren't able to do any of those things. And then you weren't even able to tell that person goodbye at the hospital.
Yes.
So you got a whole bunch of stuff. So when we go back to whatever normal looks like, I do think we do need to support the pastors and the leadership, because they're going to be the ones who are going to be getting all these phone calls. And matter of fact, pastors are probably getting phone calls right now with all the trauma, and it frightens me because they're not trauma informed.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we've had trauma before, but now this is a
like
different trauma.
Not like this.
Not like this. Exactly. This is a whole different type of trauma that has impacted us as a people. And the fact that, and if I were to look at it like an onion, we already have some trauma we didn't address.
Right.
So now we got another layer of trauma.
Layers back.
So now, so you have a whole bunch of stuff, and I think right now that's why I challenge those that are listening. Right now is the time to go ahead and start getting yourself in position to get ready for the influx of what's about to come.
Right.
True. Because I do have a couple pastors that have been reaching out to me, and I'm so glad that these pastors were very honest and said, listen, I'm going crazy, Marty, because this is something I've never seen before, and I need your mental health support. And I applaud that pastor, and we're actually trying to put something together for some of the local LA pastors that we can put something that's trauma informed and help them cope through that. Because before we even have the celebration service, we're going to have a big memorial service on as soon as we open the days of church. Yes, we're going to be excited about it, but we got to have a memorial service. Have this service that we recognize those who have passed on.
We got to exhale.
Yes.
We have to exhale.
Yes.
I don't want to go to a church picnic right when we get back. I don't want to do that. I need to grieve. I gotta cry. I don't want no rib tips right now.
Right.
John Ford had said something. I'm not sure where it went.
Yeah.
We were talking. It was getting good in the conversation.
Oh yeah. Sorry about that, John.
Yeah, John. Talking about he has a group home, but John, definitely inbox myself or Jason, and we'll definitely love to put some quarterly webinars or what have you together for you and all that. That's what it's all about. So, John, thank you for doing that. Dante, I know you said you got to get ready to head off. Man, I appreciate you just coming at the last minute. Grabbed you. Dante's always my boy. I appreciate him. Dante does amazing work with Healthy Him out of APLA. He and I. Yes,
HIV, STD, all that kind of stuff.
And that's another area we got to have conversations about when we're talking about HIV, STDs, and all that in our community, because it's we still need to have open conversations about all of these things. So Dante, man, I appreciate you as always for coming on and always bringing
pleasure.
Your
it was great meeting you, Jason. So you're gonna be on the show, fam. Okay. I'm gonna get your books. I'm gonna read them. I'm gonna read these letters. See what you're talking about.
Okay.
Then we're going to unpack some traumas on my show. Let's unpack sexual traumas.
Yes.
That's my big one. All right.
Okay.
I love y'all. I love y'all.
Likewise. Bye now. So he's good peoples. He is such good peoples with that. So glad to again have Dante on and at the last minute just coming in. Jason, man, I appreciate it. We've been on an hour. I don't want to prolong the people, man. Time goes by so fast. This is a great conversation about how to help Black men with that and what we want to do. Talk about trauma. We've dealt with a whole other. Listen, as I always say, Venden is my boy. Venden has a great book out to y'all. I'm going to have him on the show. Venden has a book that's called don't tell me, Vin, I got it. Confessions of a Cheater. I think I said that right. Which is very good. And it talks about what I love, a Black man and why when he's been deemed as a cheater and those type of things. Thank you, Dante. And just hearing that perspective and a lot of the mental health crises that he went through. And I love he talks about, again, you talk about writing is freedom. Some of the traumas that he went through, being sexually molested as a boy. And how we go through that, because we don't talk about molestation that happens to our young boys and what happens and how that changes what they view and how they view about sex and sexuality and those type of things. So I'm so grateful that he was very transparent in that with that. So Jason, man, again, I am so glad to have you, man. You are like the bomb. I appreciate you and all the work you're doing. Then Portia Scott was in here earlier for Portia Scott Media, who is working with me on my podcast stuff, man. And I just appreciate you.
Likewise, I'm just curious, with any other comments, did anybody have anything kind of jumping out at you that kind of need to be addressed or point them in a direction or anything of that particular nature? Definitely curious about that challenge of to say, okay, what are people willing to do differently? Because May just started. So what are you willing to do different? Because we know that is true about mental health.
Yes, yes. Again, I appreciate my peoples, Trey and Pam, and I don't want to begin to call names. And then LaShawn, thank you, and everything. And then we talk about the transparency. Transparency is key. Thank you. I appreciate all of you guys. I really do. With just coming on, and we hope that we've been a blessing to you with that and everything. Again, Jason, man, I appreciate you. Thank you, my brother.
Thank you.
Definitely. Listen, hold on. I'm going to close, and I'll get right back at you. Okay?
Sounds good.
Okay. Listen, y'all, again, thank you. This was an exciting show. I want to thank everyone who came on. Jason, Dante, for all your amazing work and everything. And listen, don't be strange, but I am so excited. Again, on May 20th, Wednesday, May 20th, is the launch of my Mental Health Matters with Marty podcast, y'all. I am so excited about this podcast. You just don't even know. Listen, registration has begun. Listen, some of you probably got some emails that we're going to post it tomorrow on how to RSVP to the podcast party that we're going to be having and everything with that. Again, the first 300 to register for this is going to be entered into a amazing drawing. And again, save the date for Friday, May 22nd at 7 p.m. It's going to be the virtual podcast launch party. You don't want to miss this event. And how do I stay connected? Listen, please type I matter to 31996. Type I matter to 31996. Please do that. That's going to keep you informed of everything that's going on. Type I matter to 31996. Again, here with Mental Health Matters with Marty, we don't want you to suffer in silence, but stop the stigma. And how do we do that? We do that by speaking up, speaking out, and live. Again, speak up, speak out, and live. I am so grateful. Again, I want to thank Dante for dropping by, Jason T. Mahoney for coming through. I truly appreciate him. Again, if you guys have any questions, inbox us. Put some things on here. We will definitely get back to all of you. We are so excited. Again, May is Mental Health Awareness Month. We're going to be join me all this month as I have different and exciting guests on here the whole month. I'm going to put out a schedule so that you will see and everything what that's going to be like. Tuesday, I have another clinician off the top of my head. I can't remember. I think it's Thomas Davis out of Maryland who is going to be with us, and so excited about that. But again, y'all, thank you so much. Listen, continue to speak up, speak out, and live. Until next time, God bless and be safe. Love you now. Take care.